Okay, so this is exact marquee product here, and not that we're just hung up on low dust harvesters only. You can actually buy our harvesters in conventional configuration, which is the same harvester without this system, which is what we call the Echo system. I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about this, and the reason being is because it's the best system out there. Not because I said it, not because I'm a good sales guy, it's just undisputed best low dust system out there. So this is our 3850 model harvester. We've made a lot of changes on this harvester to make it faster and better cleaning. And I'll try to go through all those detailed steps. First of all, we took the hydraulic tank out from under the blower. We've moved it into the back. So that we've lowered the profile of the machine, and then we've also lowered the Echo system to give the driver better visibility all the way back, because we don't have the cart on there, but it's a long ways back, okay? So we've enhanced the visibility for the harvester operator. This machine's all set up with twin rod belted chain. There is a significant cost, additional cost for belted chain, and we have a lot of customers that are resistant to spend more. We understand that, and so we also do offer the flat wire chains and the standard flat rubber belt pickups if that's what the way they want to go. As a salesperson, sell the advantages of this. They'll cry once, they'll never come back to you and say, I wish I never bought that twin rod chain. In fact, most of the customers that have existing harvesters out there with the other style chains are either moving in that direction. As soon as the old style chains wear out, they're updating them with the twin rods. So that's another revenue stream out there for the service departments. You know, as you're out there in the field looking at old harvesters, you can sell some update kits. So this has got twin rod. It's got a standard pickup belt. Go ahead.
Just a question. Some people are new and they don't know the difference what a twin rod chain looks like compared to a flat wire. I know you probably don't have flat wire, but maybe explain the difference between the chains.
That's a good point. So what twin rod chain is, so flat wire chain is basically pieces of flat wire that run through a machine, and they actually bend it like this, and then they run rods through it. And so the holes in the chain for the dirt to fall through are about the size of my little finger, okay? And they're just a bunch of holes all through this chain, all right? Dirt and sand will fall through there. If it's a small dirt clod that's bigger than my little finger, it actually goes right through and it goes into the hopper, okay, or the nut cart. The twin rod chain is actually heat treated bars, okay, they're round bars, and they're riveted and connected to a belt, okay, a piece of belting that runs the length of the machine. And so what you have, instead of little round holes, you have long slots. So now what you're able to do is, in almonds, you got a lot of small sticks, little twigs, little pieces of whatever. Allows that long slot will clean more product. In other words, let more product fall through the chain than all those little holes. There are also other big advantages is because the flat wire chains has got rods, and every time it's moving through the machine, it's actually doing this. And all those mechanical joints, they wear very quickly. So there's a lot of, every few days I got to go in there and I got to adjust the tension on the chain, otherwise it's getting too slack and it's catching somewhere on the machine. The belted chain, when it's brand new, it'll stretch a little bit and it pretty much gets a set. You may only have to adjust it once the entire season. Okay, it doesn't keep stretching and stretching and stretching. So that daily, weekly maintenance with the belted chain is significantly less, and its ability, the belted chain ability to drop dirt and small sticks because of the long slots, far superior, far superior. People in the nut, a lot of the people in the nut industry haven't maybe you know, farmed other kind of things like carrots and potatoes and tomatoes. I came from that industry. Those industries went to belted chain 20 years ago. I mean, they've been using that kind of stuff. The belted chain technology is very well developed and evolved. It's new to the nut industry, but it's not a new product. So it's
longevity of life too.
Double a life, and in some applications it'll be longer than that. But so that's your justification right there. If you just do the math and you get twice the life out of it, it more than pays for itself. So this has got the twin rod chain on it, so we got twin rod pickup, we have a dirt chain, and then we have an elevator chain. Okay, so wherever the product is moving through, you're going to get some sifting that's going through the chains, and then as it jumps or drops to the next chain, that'll be your next level of high cleaning. Okay, so we got a cleaning point from the pickup belt dropping onto the dirt chain. This chain actually has kickers in it, so the chain is when it's running through the machine, it's actually doing this. Okay, just agitating that. So you got all those nuts in there, some dirt clods, whatever, maybe got some dirt locked in there. So we agitate that chain to get that vibration, to get that dirt to fall through. Our vacuum is pulled all the way back at the transition point when the dirt chain is dropping onto the elevator. Okay, so we got this machine has the longest cleaning before the fan in the industry, and it's from here all the way back there that you can see. I don't have my tape measure here, even know what that distance, but it's a long ways. Significantly longer than everybody else. So that's an advantage, both from we're using the conveyor systems to do the cleaning before the fans, cuts down on the dirt that comes through the fans, the wear and tear, all the abrasion on your fan components. On the 3850, we actually have changed the airflow, and it's internal on the machine, so I don't have a way of showing that, but my best way of describing it is, so as the nut stream is coming off the dirt chain going onto the elevator, we've changed the airflow, how it cuts through that transition point. So that's where we've gotten a significant amount more cleaning. We've also opened up the front of the machine, so we've opened up the throat. So a bigger throat, more cleaning capacity equals a faster harvesting speed. So all of these advantages that we're talking about the harvester, that is included in a non-ecosystem harvester. You're going to get the same speed, better cleaning, yada yada. All those advantages are included. So this is Kern County, where harvesting dust is pretty critical down here. I live up in Madera. When I'm coming down here to do demos, I mean, I'm getting up early 30. I'm on the highway coming down here. The sun's coming up. I mean, the sun will not burn through the dust. That dust cloud that's just hovering, it's got to get quite a ways up. It's bad for our health. So again, being in the harvesting business before they got into manufacturing, knew that this is a problem. They had some ideas how to reduce the amount of dust emissions from the harvester, and they come up with this option, which is called the ecosystem. And so the way this thing works, all the harvesters have a blower, actually a suction fan, and the dirt airstream is coming out of here. It either blows off into the trees, or in this example, it's actually blowing through a cleaner. And so what we have is we have a series of brushes. Okay, these are on a spool, they're stacked up the full width. There's a water tank in between the axles. There's 90 gallons of water, and we've got a pump system over there, down there by the wheel, and it's spraying a curtain of water spraying down in this direction. The airstream is going over the top of the brush, and the brush is actually rotating in the opposite direction. It's rotating into the airstream. And in just real simple terms, what this is this is a dirt scrubber. It scrubs the dirt out of the airstream. It's very simple and extremely efficient. About 80% of the dust from a harvester running down the field, we're taking it out. We're fixing it right here. We still create some dust with the tractor driving through. The pickup belt slapping that windrow going through there, it creates a certain amount of dust. We're not addressing that. But the dirty airstream, which is a lot, there's 15,000 CFMs of air coming out of that. It's a lot, guys. Okay? And so this system right here, it's the best. We're the only guys that have it. It's patented. We're pretty proud of it. We want to sell harvesters, but we definitely, when we go out and do demos, this is what we demo. It's our marquee product. It's really what's positioned us ahead of our competition. And if they don't like this, they can take this, you can look at your price sheet and just take this right off as a cost. And 5 years down the road, this is the modular design machine. So 5 years down the road, if they decide that they want to go that way, all this stuff just bolts on. Okay? It isn't a new machine.
What's your runtime on the 90 gallons of water average?
The typical situation, if you're running a 10-hour shift, you're going to run through 3 tanks of 90 gallons.
And you can run it as a conventional too, can you not? You can run it without running water through it too.
So here's the cool thing. So guys will say, well, you know, something happened and my water truck is over there on the other place, or, you know, whatever, I don't have water. It doesn't, nothing breaks, nothing blows up. It just blows dust. So let's say that I've got 1 or 2 more rows and we're going to take a break. We're going to do a little maintenance, fill up a water tank. Takes 5 minutes, okay? Quick fill over on the other side. Nothing blows up, nothing breaks. It just blows dust.
Hey, Gene, what I found out a lot of people do also is when they're around schools or roads and stuff like that, then they turn it on, and then when they're in the middle of the field to conserve water, they turn it off.
Sure, you know, all those things are possible. All those things are possible. Yeah, I got guys that'll actually only, you know, they'll run a pretty long harvest, but they'll only run, you know, 1 or 2 gallons or 1 or 2 tanks in a harvest. So there's just a switch on the inside. You can shut it off anytime you want.
Airboard funding, can you touch on that?
Yeah, so the airboard, you know, the almond board is one of their initiatives, is to, you know, help the almond industry survive. In this population of California that is growing and growing. So to help the farmers coexist, one of their initiatives is to reduce the dust emissions that's produced, you know, from harvesting by 50%. So we have a tool that's actually, if applied, can allow the industry to achieve those goals. The airboard, which has been very successful in getting new tractors that burn cleaner. I've also introduced a program. They did a pilot program the last couple of years just to see how the reaction from the market was. It was minimally funded, meaning they had more people that wanted to take advantage of it than there was money and funded for. But it's 50% of the price of new. Okay? And so on their program, what the requirement is, you buy the new harvester, you're going to get 50% of the price of new. You do have to take your old harvester and send it to the boneyard to kill program. So you got to take one out, bring in the new one. Okay? Pretty good program. Let's say, you know, just use some big numbers. You know, $90,000 harvester costs you $45 to get into the program. Not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. You know, as sales guys, I understand that you guys are about, you know, selling product and making sure that you're keeping your wife fed and all of that. We have a very, very good close ratio for demos, okay? And it's probably pretty tough to go to brand X when they really don't have much significant difference to show or demonstrate, okay? This is a cool machine to go. You guys are gonna see this run in the field this summer. This is a cool demo, it really is. You're showing something that is significantly different. If it's not for them, no harm, no foul. We have a very high close rate of doing quality demos and giving the customer the right information and switching them over.
Can you go over how to set it up to be field ready, head adjustment, and service points on it too, please?
Okay. So so this is a self-contained hydraulics. So we're only running the unloader cart on the tractor, and so really not a lot of adjustment on the hydraulics, other than we do have a switch box. So we can actually turn the water pump that we were talking about on and off from inside. We got some other features that are, so this goes inside to the cab. This also has the camera option. And so this monitor can be mounted inside the tractor so that he can see the nuts that are going on into the trailer, as well as, you know, doing some communication when the nut runner needs to come in. So those are optional features. Most of the customers are buying those types of features now. Your setup on the harvester, you have these large nuts, and you're going to raise and lower the front of the machine. Again, we want to get these, the pickup teeth, the rakes, just off the ground, so about 1/8 of an inch off the surface. You don't want them digging in, okay? You want to put 40 pounds of pressure in your tires. Make sure you got 40 pounds. Get those rakes adjusted. And then roll it into the field and check it. You're going to have orchards that have soft dirt, and you're going to have some compaction. The whole machine dropped 1/4 of an inch. You may have to adjust that back up.
You guys provide a wrench with the unit to adjust the wheels? Is that
Yeah.
2 1/4?
Yeah, so there is an adjustment wrench that's provided if you don't have a big one. So very similar like the other machine that we talked about. You got a front bearing, and then the adjustment comes here from the back. You know, you loosen up the bearing, and this is your adjustment screw. You want to make sure and use a tape measure, go from side to side to make sure that you evenly adjust the belt so that you keep it tracked, it doesn't run to one side or the other. And that's pretty much it on the pickup. You'll notice here that we have quite a few of these plates with big bolts on them. So what we've done, instead of having bars that run all the way across through the harvester to run rollers and supports for the chain, we actually have the bearings, or excuse me, the rollers right on these plates. So I can take this plate off. If I got a bearing that gets wrapped up with some tree rope or goes bad during harvest, I don't have to jack the harvester up, split the chains, and get up inside of it. I can actually just remove it from right here, put a bearing, another roller on there, boom, I'm going. So that's another serviceability feature that we added. This also has a light bar on the back, part of the safety protocols that everybody's got to get better and conform to. And so this machine is set up so that you just plug it right into the plug-in on the John Deere tractor, and all your turn signals, your flashers, everything works right off the light bar that's included with the machine. Your dampener, this is your transition point. We have a curved duct that's in here, and you loosen up this, and then you can actually open and close, so you can raise and lower the wind board to get your air suction adjusted. That's how you do that. Other than that, just put it in the field and let it eat. This thing is very fast.
We have the daily high temperature grease on the front.
Yeah, just like on the conditioner, these bearings are running really high speed and they get really hot, and the grease just evaporates. So you want to make sure that you grease these daily. Extremely important. Rest of the conveyors, I mean, they're only running a couple hundred RPM, so If you put a little bit of grease once a week, every other week, that's more than enough. Like all things with grease, is you want to make sure you don't pump dirt into the bearings. So take a rag, clean off that zert. I like hand pump grease, just a couple of pumps, that's all you need.
Gene, the yield, the production this year on almonds is supposed projected to be up, what, 18% over a year ago, both through increased acres and increased yield on the tree.
Yes.
Do you have any tips or tricks on that? If it's increased yield on the tree, we've got a heavier yield in the field. What are the first three things we should be saying? Do this, this, and this.
Well, you know, most growers are just like everybody else. They're looking at their cost. So how can I do more with the same pieces of equipment, same amount of people? And I'll use, this is a real example. We have a grower. He's a very large grower. So he runs his nonpareils on a 12-hour shift running days. Then he gets into that 15, 20 day on his pollinator varieties, and he's way out in October, rolling into November. So what he'll actually do, because of the low dust harvester that he's running, and he's running multiple machines, he actually breaks up his crews into 2 crews. He's running 2 8-hour shifts, the night shift, and his neighbors can't do that. And the reason why is there's so much dust out there at nighttime, they can't even see where they're going, let alone run machinery through the orchards. He's able to do that with multiple machines and running side by side and having the nut runners and be able to run that second shift. So he's doing it with the same set of equipment. I would say if a guy wants to speed up his harvester and he's not conditioning, pitch him on the conditioner. The conditioner step will speed up his harvester with the same amount of other sweepers and everything else. More questions?
Say they're pushing in their nuts, you know, and they get a big pile at the ends. You know, what is the best way to just go real slow, or to kind of, you know, deeper, go a little bit higher? Is it on the 3-point? What is the best way to do?
Yeah. So a lot of guys are doing nut crowding. We can say that that's almost getting to be the standard. In other words, they're pulling the nut rows back into the tree row a few feet, so that it gives them a lot more room for turning around. And so when you're starting in, or you're coming to the end of that nut row, you're going to have a double or triple nut row just stacked up, a lot more dirt in there. So good thing on these John Deeres with the quad shift transmissions, you just need to pop that thing down and just go into it slow, okay? You don't need to stop. If they don't have that, you got to ride the clutch, and you want to make sure and just eat that thing as, without plugging up the machine or you know, bogging something down. But
Filter system on the water, the pressure of the water.
yeah, so
Drawing the water from bad sources a lot of times.
yeah, so anything that runs with sprayer jets, you got to have a clean source. If you run garbage water through there, it's going to plug up your jets. So we do have a sand trap right here. And so the water tank is pulling from that, running it through the sand trap before it gets to the jets. But it's you know, the size of the screen, stuff can still slip through there. So it's really important to put a clean water source, just like with a sprayer or any type of other agricultural equipment. You want to put clean water into the tank. This will get any of the real fine or the heavier sand particles. And then you run your water pressure at 20 pounds down the field.
Is there any maintenance on the EcoClean system as far as washing it out or anything?
No. This thing is turning about 150 RPM. It's actually running very slow. And because the brushes are always turning, it just self-cleans itself. So this thing, with the water and the dust, it'll actually start what we call mudding up. And it looks like kind of like hot dogs skewed on there. and they just build up to a certain point, and then they just fall back down on the orchard, and they just spread themselves along. So
you get wear on the sweeper, I'm sure, right, on the brushes?
They'll go a season at least, depending on the amount of acres and how abrasive the sandy conditions are. Some guys will get a couple of years out of the brushes. So.
And one more thing, do you get calcium issues with the nozzles and sprayers with the water?
I haven't seen that, but I'm sure it could be. So you might need to put some additives, or is that what you're saying? On the water calcium situation?
And that water filter, can you rinse it out, or is it you got to replace the cartridge?
No, you just unscrew it, rinse it out, screw it back in.
It actually does a better job when there's dirt on the wicker brushes. You wash it out, it takes a row or two before it muds back up like a sponge, and it doesn't quit blowing the dust. So it's better to keep the mud on there.
It's actually part of what makes the machine work. So on a brand new machine, you got to run it a row or two for this thing to get wetted up and to get that wet dirt packed in there. Then it really, I mean, it just really just comes to life. Questions?
What about collapsing the water tank?
What's that?
The breather for collapsing the water tank.
Yeah, so we actually do have a vent on the other side. So you got a 90-gallon tank. I mean, you know, these big growers, they'll come in with that water truck, and I mean, they'll hit that thing in about 2 minutes. It's boom. So you got to have a way for that air to get out, and then as it's, you know, taking the water slowly out, the air's got to go back in. So there's actually a vent on the other side that allows that.
I've seen that happen a lot.
Hey.
Yeah.
You got to clean that.
Yeah.
An option for extendable hitch. That's an option.
Yeah, so the standard setup is a sliding hitch that you remove the bolt, you can set it where it needs to go. If you need a sliding hitch, a hydraulically slider, we can do that as well. We've engineered the angles and things here so we don't have as much clearing issues. But if they do have a lot of, in other words, the road on the outside of the orchard, and you got those big slopes kind of, you know, driving up, that hydraulically extended hitch is definitely a plus. So.